I just saw something that I really, really want. And I'm gonna go take it. All right, I gotta try and be fast, which this is not one of my skills for being fast at because there's a lot of traffic. But the original one I wanted, which was fresh, the county road commission already came through and grabbed it. And I mean, that thing was fresh. This thing, someone's already come through and chopped the antlers off from it. So that's kind of sad because I don't even know how big he was. He's a good sized deer. He's got a nice heavy duty coat on him. He had just a little bit of road rash on the other side. And it might come out with skinning. It's been cold enough that even if he's been out here for a week, I'm sure he's gonna be just fine. He honestly could have been out here longer than a week. I have not a clue. His fur appears to be intact all over. The ditch is not in the best place for a hide if you want fur on. But we're gonna give this a go and see how it works out. Hopefully nobody harasses me about it. It is my understanding that it is not illegal to take the hide off a deer. It may be illegal to take the antlers off the deer, but I don't recall reading anything about taking the actual skin off the deer. You can't take the deer. Now, normally I would take the whole thing home, not just leave a mess in the road for someone else to clean up, but now you can't actually take the deer because of chronic wasting disease. So I am instead just going to take the skin because I really don't want to have to shoot any more deer this year and cut them all up. So this is a free deer hide for me, or buckskin if it doesn't come out very good. So let's get to work before somebody harasses me. I'm hoping this isn't going to be too obvious, and I'm hoping I can do this fast. So yeah, we're just going to cut it right here, call it a day. But he is very frozen, so hopefully he comes off okay. Battery went dead. No, it wasn't my battery, it was my memory card was full. Go figure. It holds like, I don't know, 60 gig, and it's full. So my apologies. It was gonna be a whole long dramatic thing, And it's a good thing that nobody pulled over and stopped to yell at me. So I am very bummed that there's so much fur falling off from this, because I really wanted to have a nice fur coat out of it. Anyhow, I gotta go get this thing scraped down as fast as I can and then salted. And then, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to strip all of this beautiful fur off, and that's not gonna be fun. And it's gonna make a big mess. But sometimes it's just how it rolls. The deer I wanted was gone. So in case you didn't catch that, the road commission had gone through trimming trees. They found the deer. They drug it off. I could tell because I could see the bloody drag mark. I was so bummed. I mean, literally, it was like 2 hours later. They obviously didn't get this one because this guy had been sitting there for at least a week, maybe 2 weeks. Judging by this smell and the fact that it's been so cold, I'm going to guess probably 2 weeks. Yeah. So this guy had some major damage. Both legs broken, spine broken, his entire insides just exploded out. It was bad. Yeah, I don't recommend going for roadkill unless it's fresh, but that was my original intent. And then I drove home thinking, hey, maybe I'll get lucky and find one on the side of the road. All right. So you may be wondering why I am dressed in my nicer warm weather clothes. Well, the answer is my farm work clothes got covered in rotting deer guts, so they kind of had to be washed, and the smell's lingering. So anyway, I am not going to wear this for working on the hide exactly. I just wanted to show you. So here is the hide. It has been fleshed and salted, and I would have done a video of it, but if you watch my live stream, you know what fleshing looks like. Now it was interesting, because if you did watch my live stream, and you know anything about fleshing a deer hide, you're probably thinking to yourself, gosh dang, it took that girl a long time to flesh that hide. You're correct, because that deer hide that I was fleshing had been off the deer for about 5 days. It was cold, and it had been frozen a couple of times in the barn. But I think it had dried out, and so a lot of that tissue kind of really stuck to the skin. Now this one, it was a hell of a thing to get off the deer, but once it was off, man, that flesh just peeled right off. Yeah, so I didn't see mass quantities of fur falling off while I was fleshing it, which is a good thing. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that and see what we can do. So anyway, a couple of things to note. Yeah, I do have you on a tripod. I'm sorry. I'm not sure how this is gonna work. Okay, so you're gonna immediately notice that there's a lot of discoloration. So the green areas pretty much are areas right around where the guts were. That area up there, I'm actually gonna clip about right there. I don't know, I got a little excited cutting this out, and that side looks really nice and even, and this side's got like a little I don't remember why. I think there was some rotting tissue or something up there, and I was like, forget it, I'm just cutting around it. So yeah, so overall it looks like it's in decent shape. If you notice, you can see what looks like water coming off from it, and that's what you want to see. So I'm gonna actually get a blanket, cheap Harbor Freight moving pad, $4, put that underneath it, and hopefully that'll help pull the water away from the hide. The trailer is on a bit of a slant, so that definitely helps the water drain off, but it does need more salt on top. So this is what the salt does, is it pulls the water out of the hide and helps set the fur. It also helps deter any bacteria that may be growing, and I'm sure there's plenty. Yeah, so literally as I was fleshing this deer hide last night, and it was last night, I could hear the coyotes out back going roar, and I was like, I don't have a gun, I don't have a knife, I have no way to defend myself if they decide to come in here because they smell the rotting flesh on the deer hide. Yeah, oh yeah, and yeah, the chicken feathers, I obviously plucked the chickens in the horse trailer. So, once this horse trailer gets prepped for riding, I will not be doing any of this stuff in there because it's going to be full of wood shavings. But obviously, I'm I never got around to being able to wash it out. So it needs to be washed thoroughly anyhow before the horses can actually stay in here for any length of time. But I do plan to sweep the feathers out and clean it out before I start introducing the horses to the inside of the trailer. Contrary to what you might think, you don't just grab a horse and stuff it in a trailer because they're likely to kill themselves. Oh, and lastly, a couple more interesting little tidbits. Apparently, Eric, that same morning, saw 3 deer just freshly hit in front of his work. 3 does. Yep. And when he came back through, someone had already picked them up and they were gone. I told him, I said, why did you not call me? I could have at least come out and skinned them. So, I don't know. And then lastly, my neighbor had roadkill delivered to her front door. No kidding. The other night, she woke up hearing a loud thump and screeching tires. And she ran onto bed thinking one of her dogs had gotten loose and got hit by a car. Well, there's a deer laying right in her yard. So, nice big doe. So they hung it up and we'll go over and look at that in a little bit. But, yeah. It's going to be an interesting project. So after some thorough investigation online, I concluded that I couldn't conclude anything. So finally I called the Michigan DNR and asked them about the legalities of roadkill. And they flat out told me that you actually can still take roadkill deer in Michigan despite the chronic wasting disease. So in retrospect, I probably could have just taken the whole thing, cleaned it all up for them. But I did ask about taking parts off the roadkill deer, and they said if you're doing antlers, you need a permit, salvage permit, just like you would if you're taking the whole thing. If you're taking just a part of it, then you probably don't need a permit. But yeah, so it is perfectly legal, and I did go online and fill out all the necessary paperwork, so we are legal on all of it. But in the future, if Eric tells me that somebody hit 3 deer outside of his work, don't be surprised if you see me on the side of the road.